this is really cool. That will make your life so much easier, guys. Dyson Sphere program is a fantastic resource management game where you will build insane factories, but it can be overwhelming for the new players, especially for people who never played Factorio or Satisfactory and games like that. So in this video, I will make a guide for the new players who never played games like that and feel totally overwhelmed. I will teach you the basics of the game so you can enjoy this fantastic piece of art, and eventually you will be able to build something like this out of your starting position like this. So right guys, the game has some really important core mechanics. First of all, you got the resource nodes that you can use in order to harvest the resources. Then out of the mining machines, you will go through tutorial, I won't cover the bare basics. Out of the miners, you will have the belt outputs that deliver resources to your refining facilities. That can be either smelter that will smelt your ore into something better, or assembly machine that will use several resources in order to do something new. So yeah, early on when you just start, you can get just one mining machine, but honestly, it's a really good idea to use up all the nodes available at your deposit, so they will be all covered by your miners. And there are several reasons why you want that. So if we want to cover this area, we need to replace the building locations a bit, because this miner doesn't gather everything. There we go. You can rotate it using the shift. If you just press R, it will rotate 90 degrees, but when you use shift, it will rotate less, and you will be able to manually place it how you wish. So something like that would be better. If you will cover more nodes with one mining machine, it will produce more resources per second. Moreover, it will allow you to use as many nodes as possible. And when you are connecting the belts to your refinement area, you would like them to be connected in the T shape. So basically what you want to do, you want your belts to be connected at one point like this. That means that this belt will take intake from left and right at the same amount, so it will evenly use the resources from both miners. If you have 4, you can connect them all like that as well. And yeah, don't forget to support power for your building, that's pretty important. Why do you want to cover all the nodes? Because that will allow you to free up the space. You will need it later. I am by no means an expert in the game. I played it only for 20 hours, but I learned it the hard way. We got those copper veins here in the middle of our factory, and that space would be so valuable, but we have them here. Moreover, this is my initial mining area, and you can see that there will be 3 of those nodes left. And that means that they will never go away, and unless you will make additional miners there. And when the used up nodes will disappear, those will stay, and they will prevent you from building stuff, and you can't truly remove them. The only way to get rid of them is to mine them. So yeah, utilizing all the nodes will allow you to produce more resources and saturate the belt better. The basic idea that conveyor belts that are connecting your miners to your refineries, to your smelters, they have limited amount of transportation, 6 resources per second. Later on, obviously, you will get better type of belts that will be able to carry more and more resources, but you are stuck with a belt MK1 for now. And as you can see here, those 2 belts fully covered with the resources one after another, and fully saturated belt is really good because it will allow you to have the maximum amount of smelters that can smelt all that, and it will be more efficient for your progression. By default, one of your smelters will smelt 60 ore per minute. That means 1 ore per second. So in order to fully use up the conveyor belt, you will need 6 arc smelters, and then you can output them on the belt and leave it to your next production area. I have this design of the smelter that I usually use. It's really easy to do. Later on, when you will get splitter, early on you can just chain 6 of those together and output it on the belt. Don't worry about messy designs. This is something that I created later in the game, about 15 hours into the game, but let me show you how I started. So yeah, this is my basic design, the copper nodes that we got at the start of the game, and this is how it's being used. It's very hard to understand what's going where, and you need to memorize that, otherwise you will forget. So this is the basic design that I had when I started the game. Yeah, we got some miners here. They are being delivered to those 5 arc smelters. And another tip straight away: space your buildings more. Don't be greedy, don't spot everything really closely together, because you will need space to expand your buildings. So if you clump everything very close together later on when you would like to build like more stuff around it or get additional belts, it might get really messy and hard to do. If you want more slow-paced, in-depth, detailed playthrough, there is a playlist over there how I go through the game first time and learn it all by myself, so you can enjoy it with me. So with that knowledge, now you know how to use the ore. You got two basic ores in the game, one copper and one iron. Those deposits should be nearby your base. And the third type of resource that you will get early on into the game is coal. Coal usually is nearby your base as well, so try to find a spot where you get 3 of those resources pretty close to each other. There is also stone. There we go, stone. Stone is very useful as well, so you want to make sure that 4 of those resources are reachable for you. Now, in order to power all of your buildings, you will need power. And in this game, there are several ways to get power. You get this tab with all the stuff in it, and your basic thing will be wind turbines. Those things are not really the most efficient ones, but they work really well. Early game, it doesn't matter what kind of power source do you use, but basically wind turbines will allow you to get your basic energy production going, and you can place a lot of them on your base. The main problem with the wind turbines is that you can't place them next to each other. It will be too close, so there should be some distance between them. The best option that you can do when you have a couple of those, early on it doesn't matter, just put them wherever you can. Early on it doesn't matter that much, you just try to put them wherever you can so they can do the most of the work. Later on you want to click and drag, and I advise you guys to drag them horizontally. So I will explain what I mean a bit later, but yeah, basically you just click and hold and it will automatically place them as close to each other as possible. And just like that, you will get a couple of wind turbines. They will be connected to each other and they will produce the most amount of power for your base. You can get another row of those quite easily. And well, in this grid, let's see, we got 5 megawatts of energy already, so that's enough to run your basic factory. Although those things will prevent you from building quite a lot of stuff because they take a lot of space, so it's an early source of energy, but it's really easy to get, it's cheap, and it doesn't require any fuel because once you place the wind turbines, they work 24/7 and give you that energy. So it's really nice to get it early on and use it as your main source until you get something better. Now let's talk about horizontal, vertical buildings and what I mean by that. When you press B, you go to the building mode, and that will allow you to see the grid. And what's interesting, you can see as you get closer to your poles, the grid shifts, it becomes smaller. And the problem is that you can't really get good base on those areas when they shift, because first of all, your belts won't be straight, so... Oh, here they are. Let's go a bit north. There we go. Over here we got a problem. If we'll run belt north, it will have to shift from this grid to that grid, and it won't be straight anymore. Same with the buildings. The closer you get to the pole, the harder it will be for you to build them. And if you are and if you're right next to the pole, you can see that there is a proximity issue, so you can't really place them as much as you want. So that's why it's not the best idea to build your main base at the pole. Although poles can be really useful for things like solar energy, because with the proper angle of your planet towards the sun, it might give you more usage time for your solar panels and that kind of stuff. And it's also really good to shoot the spheres into the space. That's just future-proof tips for you. And yeah, we got a lot of satellite launchers here, rail injectors, and they work really well from here because they got higher uptime, especially if you get the good orbit for your satellites. Yes, that's what you will be able to do in the game later on. It's really amazing. So yeah, for the beginners, I wouldn't advise going to the poles unless you know what you're doing, otherwise you might have some issues. Your base will look ugly and won't work well, but feel free to experiment. You can always raise any building. You can remove it by pressing X and going into removal mode, dismantle it, and it will go straight into your inventory, and you can place it later as well, so it's not a problem. So yeah, you won't lose any resource in the most cases. The only scenarios where you will lose the resources if you remove something like logistic stations and that kind of stuff, but that's mid-late game, so you don't need to know about that right now. By the way, guys, in the video description I've got the playlist with more advanced guides that will teach you on more game mechanics if you are confused, and ask your questions so I will know what kind of guides I will need to make for you. Now guys, if you started the game with the dark fog with your enemies, from time to time they will attack your base. I'm playing this game for 21 hours already, and I had only land attacks so far. I didn't got a single space attack yet, so don't worry about that. It will take a while for them to get to you. But from the land attacks, from the first waves on the normal difficulty, it's really easy to protect with your main mecha panel. It will shoot energy, you can get some ammo for it, and it will be okay, don't worry about that. You can also go for research and get a basic weapon system technology if you are worried. That's really cheap, that will give you some basic Gauss turrets, some basic ammo that you can use to protect yourself. Usually you will get only one base, and right now I'm testing if it will attack the closest building to its base when it's triggered. So maybe there is a point to make front base like this one with the weapons in order to fend off the attackers so they won't go attack your other buildings. Let's see if that will work. And yes, since we're here, let's talk about enemies a little bit more. Those guys, they have this huge base already, and this base will grow as their XP will grow. There we go, they're coming. No, they don't really care where to attack, so this is invalid advice for you guys. They decide where to attack themselves. But mainly for me, they were attacking my pole base. Yeah, they're coming for it again. So yeah, basically, pretty fast you will realize where the enemies are coming for you, and you will be able to fend off at that area by making stronger defense at that area and take them out. Right now, the planetary base of those guys is level 2. They are very strong already. Well, not really very strong, but way stronger than at the start. And honestly, that was no issue fending them off. Nothing was destroyed. We destroyed a bunch of enemies, and it's good. So yeah, don't worry about them too much. They won't harm you that much. On the normal difficulty, that's not an actual threat. And for the first 10 hours or so, their attacks can be fended off with single Gauss turret. So don't really worry about them raising your base. Feel free to expand, feel free to take a lot of space, and when the attack happens, just get one of those turrets into your inventory, get some ammo, go where they will attack, and when you see the enemies coming, make sure that you got the energy in that area and just pull up a couple of turrets, feed them ammo, and you're good to go. They will destroy everything. Don't forget the power. And there we go. You won't have any issues with the enemy for a long time. And when you will get issues with the enemy, you will know what to do with them. Now, your main goal in the game is to have fun. But in order to have fun, you need to get the new technologies. Honestly, personally, I feel like technologies are being developed faster than you can actually produce them and use them in your real life. So I've got most of my research tree here being done by 20 hours. I've got only high-tech stuff left. And in order to do that, you will need those matrix slabs. Those things produce the cubes, those called matrices. The first one will be blue. It's really easy to produce for you. You will need some resources for that. And you can make simple production chains, feed it over there, and produce that. What's pretty cool, that those things can both produce matrices when you pick the one to produce over there on the left, or they can do research for you. So in that scenario, you want to feed them the other cubes in order to do the research, because doing research inside of you, like when you have those in your inventory and use them to do the research, will be really inefficient. So you would like to do something like that. There are belts that are delivering those matrices to the matrix lab, and you can stack them on top of each other. That will just multiply their production and consumption. So basically, all of those things, they can pick those things up and pass them to the top matrix, and they all work together on the same task. So yeah, I think 1 or 2 towers of those will be enough. So this was like 6 for you. 6 will be good enough for the starters, but you can adjust it to your own needs. Now you can see the production line here is a bit more complex than you think. First of all, I've got the buffer things, and buffers are pretty useful early game, and I use them late game as well. Those things are being used to store excess resources and feed them out when you need them. So in case if some of your resources is not being used right now, or you have too many, it can be stored here in this chest, and it can be released back to the chain if the chain is empty when it needs it. The basic setup is making the chest depot and putting the lower tier sorter on the left and higher tier sorter on the right. That will allow you to get them at the lower rate and give them out at the higher rate. But you got a lot of other options as well. Basically, the main idea that your output should be same or higher than your input. Otherwise, you will have to fully saturate this depot in order to have all those items in it. Another cool way how you can do the buffers is you can place the storage building on top of your splitter. That will allow all your excess items to be stored here, and it will basically do the same. So when you have some extra stuff in your production line, it will be fed here and it will be stored in this depot. It's kinda easy to do. Later on, you can use special delivery drones on top of that in order to deliver them to your inventory. Once again, you will thank me later. And you can actually limit the amount of slots that you want to have stored. For example, right now we'll select 1, and that means that when one of the slots will be full, the rest of the stuff will go forward. It works like that for your chest and for every container, but when depot is being put on top of the splitter here, it will automatically output everything out, so there is no real need for this. If you can consume those resources, they will not be stored anyway. Let me show you what I mean. We got this production chain over here, right? And no resources are being stored. So if we'll put this storage over here, you can see that nothing is being stored. It will automatically be output if there is a demand for that. So if you want to have some extra resources being stored for you, that won't work. This is just extra buffer for you if you have some storage. And I prefer to make chests with all the resources at the end of each production line. That will allow me to have everything available for me when I need it. For example, I have this basic production line for magnetic coils, and we have the special chest over here at the end of its production chain that will take excessive items over here, and then we got the logistic distributor that will deliver it to us if we want to. Oh, this is really cool. That will make your life so much easier, guys. So yeah, storage and buffering is really important because early on you can never know if you will have enough production, if something will be slow and stuff like that. Look at that. Some of my belts are overpowered with goods, some of those are really low, so buffer helps with that. Moreover, it's a really good idea to have one of each building being stored in the end of the production chain, and you would like to produce everything. By everything, I mean literally everything. Not straight away, but later on, you definitely want to move to that. So all the items have to be produced and stored in some way that you can use them in order to get to your logistics. I won't spoil much, but I will give you a hint what you will need early on for sure. That's iron, copper, magnetic coils, magnets. You will need a lot of those. Then you will need some stone bricks, not a huge amount, that they are really easy to make, but making them automatic and storing them in the chest will save up a lot of time for you. And later on you will need a lot of electric motors and electromagnetic turbines, so those things will take a long time to create manually, and you would like to have production line with them for sure. So yeah, all the basic stuff here at the left top corner is really important. Then for the buildings, you really need conveyor belts. For sure. I can't tell you how much time I spent just doing them manually. It was a major annoyance. The next thing are sorters. You always would like to have some in your inventory, and then your assembly machines in order to make the better production chains. That basically will allow you to do way more complex production lines way easier, and don't spend time making one each of those and distracting you from your main goal. Some arc smelters, some Tesla towers are important as well because they will allow you to connect the power grid, and arc smelters are being used to smelt ore basically, yeah. Another cool thing are splitters. There is a thing about splitters, guys. I've read on Reddit that most people don't recommend that because it kinda puts load on your CPU, so if the load on the CPU becomes too high, your time in the game will go slower. There we go, statistics panel, and here you can go to performance test, and you got the CPU, and that will kinda show what kind of things do what for you, but at my base and early game it doesn't matter, so you can use whatever. Later on when you will build huge factories, maybe you want to optimize that, but early on I advise you to just enjoy the game and experiment. So the splitters are really useful things. First of all, you can place them, put one belt into it, and it will do output in 3 different areas. You can use 1, you can use 2, or you can use all 3 of those. Let's say we got 2 outputs, and by default it will split the incoming resources evenly. The thing is that you can use the port status and prioritize it. Right now we prioritize this port, Let me actually show it to you on the example. There we go, we got this iron ingot splitter here, and as you can see, it's outputting more stuff on the right, and when the area on the right is full, it will keep outputting it forward. With this logic, you can do so many things to it. So there we go. Forward is a normal port status, and you can switch it around if you want to, but I advise against that. So basically you can use it to feed your main production line and give access somewhere else. This splitter is working in a normal way, so it will just split incoming resources evenly between those two areas. Moreover, when placing a splitter, you can have three options how you can put it. The normal splitter, the second variation of splitter, and the third variation of splitter. There is no place for this here. I don't have that. There we go, that's the third variation of splitter. So the first one is normal ground splitter with 4 directions. The second one will allow you to get one input on any level. The second one is a 2-tier splitter, so it will allow you to go on the second floor as well if you want to, and that's actually pretty convenient for some areas. The third one is the same as the second one, but the second floor goes perpendicular to the main route, so you can experiment with them and do whatever you feel like. Moreover, you can stack splitters on top of each other, so you can make really crazy production lines that are going really tall. Honestly, I never did that, but you might find it useful, and you can combine them in, well, any ways how you want to. And you can usually combine them without any issues. But yeah, mostly you'll be using your first type of splitter for the ground, but keep it in mind that other variations might really help you in some situations. Since we're talking about the belts, let me talk about belt controls a little bit. By default, when you got the belt intersection, they will either merge if you click on them, but if you go over them and you got at least 2 tiles in each area, it will just hop over it. There will be a small bridge over here, and what's interesting, if you will remove the belt below it, you won't be able to rebuild it afterwards. So you will have to remove this thing in order to build it again, which is a bit annoying, but at least now you know that you can easily build the belts one on top of another. But that's not it. You can put the belts to different heights. By pressing up and down buttons, you can get the dedicated height of the belt that you want to build. My god, this is tall. I wonder how high I can go. Ooh, I can go really high. But yeah, I never actually use that. I usually use 1 or 2 levels, maybe 3. And yeah, your second layer of belts can go on top of your main belt as well. Just like that. And you can put them all together. That might be useful when you want to deliver more of the specific resources through the narrow corridor, for example. The thing is, sometimes you will be wondering, how the hell do I make the belt on top of another belt? You can press up, but it will still start at the same point, which is not right. You can press shift, and that will override the snapping, and you can start the belt at the second floor straight away. And what's even better, that this thing that we had here, that's going over the first belt, can go between the first and second level, and you will be able to move a lot of belts through that if you want to. Another thing about belts that you might not know, that you can make them diagonally as well. I never actually used that, but if you move the belt around, it will try to snap to 90-degree grid, but if you press shift and then R, it will allow you to go diagonally how you see fit, which can allow you to go over some areas where otherwise you wouldn't be able to do that. I think this is pretty cool, and that will allow you to create better shapes, better options, but overall I think it will be a little bit less effective. But yeah, you got this option, and it might be very valuable at some tight situations. Another thing, when you are destroying the facilities and you want to remove the belts, you can press shift, and that will remove the whole connected belt, so that will make things way faster for you when you are shifting things around. Another thing, that early on you might run out of energy at the bottom, and that will be a problem, so you might want to get some wood, and that will be your fuel early on, or you can get some coal and use it in your fuel chamber. There is option to automatically replenish fuel, so if you will put wood, for example, and it will run out, and you got some wood in your inventory, it will be automatically filled here, so you will never run out of fuel like that, which is really convenient. Another cool thing that you might not know, which will be really useful to you, that wind turbines, as soon as you research steel, can be built on top of the water, so you can use your bodies of water in order to produce extra energy for your base. This is pretty convenient, and it's not used to be the case for a while, and yeah, right now I think it makes them way more efficient than anything else early game. So all your water areas can actually give you energy, because there your wind turbines won't prevent you from building properly. Another thing you might want to get early on is wireless power tower. Those things have two really good features. First one, you can stand next to it and recharge your core energy, so you won't really have to wander around and harvest wood and something. Or you can just put the coal into your fuel chamber, and that will be enough to recover the energy, because you'll be using a lot of energy for manual crafting early on. And second, that you can connect base to some outer region, for example pole or some faraway resource node, with this one way easier. So if you would like to connect with the normal Tesla towers, they basically have to be almost in range of each other, but the good thing about them that they supply more power around them, while wireless transmission will allow you to transfer power for way higher distance. So you can use something like that in order to connect to the faraway areas, and then in those faraway areas you can establish your normal power grids, and those wireless transfers will allow you to get it faster and easier. Another thing you might not know, which is, well, pretty obvious, that conveyor belts, they don't require power. So you don't really need them to be powered as you transfer resources from one area to another, and you can pretty easily pull them from one side of planet to another side of planet far, far away, which might be a pretty tedious thing, but it will work without any power, and it will allow you to deliver goods on a really high distances without any issues. Also, they can be on top of the water, and they don't require foundation. So yeah, basically they work really well, and early on don't be afraid to have a lot of those conveyor belts going really crazy. It's called spaghetti. If you will take a look at other videos on the game, that's what spaghetti means. It took me a while to figure out it first in Factorial. And yeah, basically they work just like that, which is pretty cool if you ask me. So yeah, for the access for the most game mechanics, you would like to do a lot of research, and your most basic research will cost you only the basic goods, so it won't cost you research matrices, and they will actually allow you to get most of the main stuff for the game. So after that, you can start setting up the production lines for everything. And guys, in no time, if you will follow this guide and be patient, you will be able to go to space, build Dyson spheres, and actually travel to another planets. But that info is for another video, because my god, this requires way different level of knowledge of the game, and don't be afraid guys, I managed to do this, so you will be able to do this as well. And don't give up on the game that fast, because it looks absolutely amazing. It feels amazing, and it feels so good when you try to do something and it works properly. So yeah, I hope this guide will be useful for you. Let me know in the comments if you get through the questions. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for YouTube algorithm to push it further, and check out the video description for the playlist. I've got other guides for Dyson Sphere program, my playthrough, and other videos over there. And overall, this is a city building colony sim channel, so what you waiting for? Subscribe. And yeah guys, thank you very much for watching. It's been Kosh. Have a good one. Bye.